Hi, John.
Hey, Alex.
Do you know what I hate?
What's that?
Oh, 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 oh.
I too hate that did not go on for another hour and a half, just like in Suburban Sasquatch.
Mr. Big Buck. Mr. Big Buck. Mr. Big Buck.
I'm so damn bad, y'all.
That loop fucking roar.
Yeah.
Oh, that is something else.
Yep. This whole movie is something else.
This is bad movie month. We're going to do 3 bad movies in a row. Maybe this was too bad? Is that possible? Because
No, I no, it's not.
Okay.
I've seen worse.
I've seen worse
some
as
ways.
well.
Like I would honestly argue that Veronica is still worse than this. This
Oh, boy.
this is incompetent, and there's a lot of things bad about it, but it told a story. Veronica didn't do that. So, but Veronica had white balanced cameras and some editorial flow, I guess. But still, between the two, if I have to sit down and watch one, I would pick Suburban Sasquatch.
All right, I'm going to agree with you on if we had to choose between the two, I would
Yes.
watch Suburban Sasquatch. Yes. But I think as far as like competency of filmmaking, I think this is worse than Veronica. Only because, well, one, like there was a scene in Veronica that was a couple scenes that were at night,
That's true.
and it looked like night.
Yeah,
This whole movie is shot day for night.
There's a lot of day
And-
for night.
And it's, I mean, I'm very forgiving for that kind of stuff because, I mean, that's hard, but he didn't try, like, he put no effort into making day for night work at all. Like, just, oh, here's a good way to make day for night work. Have a head on shot with your headlights on.
Yeah.
Cool. It's just, oh boy, there was a
It's-
lot of,
And I will cut it some slack because it is like the complete amateurishness of it. Director David Waskevich. Although I don't think this was his first film. Fungicide was his first film. So he had one in the bag, weirdly enough.
yes.
This was
This
2
is
years
correct.
later. Good God. So okay, some of this I'm going to now recant, but no, but there is like this, like, okay, I'm learning stuff and whatever, but like Danzig had a budget and people around him that in theory knew something, whereas this guy didn't, and that's so I kind of cut them some slack that way. But at the same time, like it's just kind of funny the sort of cart before the horse that so much of this movie, like, well, I got to figure out how to have a CG arrow be fired, but I'm not going to bother to learn how to white balance a camera, or how to use a microphone. I don't need to know about that stuff.
The thing about this though, just a small argument, and this is like on the trivia thing, the budget for this film, $300 million. So they
Wow.
they had money to spare, really.
I wonder where it all went.
Yeah,
How do you think Waskevich started Scientology?
yeah, exactly. Well, that's where the money came from.
Yeah.
It really is. He changed his name. I don't know. I think it's charming in its own way for how incompetent it is.
I think that's something it has over Veronica. Is there's there's charm to it, particularly with my own background of making no budget films of varying quality. There's a lot of like, nostalgia and like sad nostalgia for like, yep,
Well,
I was that dumb too.
But I feel like I've not seen much of your film oeuvre.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Sure.
I just realized I don't think I've ever said that word out loud. I'm sure I have, and someone in the audience is like, Alex, you said it like 6 times on the show. But I'm going to guess it's more competent than this, but only because, and you talk about with the CGI, this guy learned how to see like 3D model birds and the moon and take a 2D picture of a car and move it. But like he learned some computer stuff for this and then didn't bother to learn how a camera works.
Yeah. No, exactly.
So,
And there's some of that though, like so the biggest feature I ever made, or I was responsible for, is this film group I was in, Cinema Case. So we made this barbarian, it's gonna be a web series, but ended up getting kind of cut together to one movie called Kakor, which is rock spelled backwards. And we were going to show it, premiere it at this local film festival that no longer exists, the Longbow Film Festival. It's a wonderful film festival, and they gave us a spot in there. And so I had to finish the edit to premiere it there in like, I had a set amount of time. So there were so many effects that I was like, oh, I'm trying to learn how to do this. Because that was some of the idea of making the movie too, was we'll kind of figure out how to do some of this stuff. This was a bigger production than we had done before. And there was a lot of stuff in there that's like, it's good enough for Longbow. It's good enough for Longbow. And then I just never went back and fixed it. And then like 10 years later, long story longer, 10 years later, we got someone else to kind of take over some of it, but some of the crappy ones, sort of add to the charm of it. And I think that this guy's whole thing is some of that where it's the like, well, I'm kind of learning as I go, and I'm going to try different things, and I do appreciate that. Although there is some stuff where it's like you couldn't get cop uniforms, you couldn't,
let's not bring up cop uniforms yet, because I think that's going to be half the episode. But the white balance thing. And I'm assuming that's the problem because you use those words. I just know it looks like shit, and you said white balance. So I'm going to guess that's
white balance is a thing where like there's different color temperatures based on the light, and so that's why sometimes things are overly blue or overly yellow. It depends on light, and in some cases, he's trying to do day for night. But then it's also just like his aperture is wide open, so stuff's all blown out. And I don't think it's just the transfer. I think it was just incompetently shot, and just weird stuff of like how they decide to do some things.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to go through and, we're not going to spend the whole time picking on, little nitpicky stuff, because obviously this film's got a lot of issues. But I just wanted to go back to the point that those CGI birds looked pretty good.
That I will say, yeah.
Yeah, like not like, they don't look like a professional CGI house did it, but they look very good for one dude just CGI modeling the thing.
In the distance, when they have to interact with things, less so.
Oh, no, absolutely.
But as someone who was probably at this level at that time, hats off, buddy. Like that, I would have been stoked as hell if I was able to create that crappy CG through the forest opening that he did.
So the amount of time it took for him to do that, he couldn't like edit the movie better during the first murder. I think it's the first one of the murder. Yeah, no, it is the first murder with the two teens in the car. One of the bodies disappears midway through the shot.
Yeah, or like his head gets crushed, but then it's fine in the next scene.
Yeah. Oh, that's another part. Yeah. Why not just cut around that? Like you have. This is the part that like the thing that's just blows my mind is that he learned all the CGI shit and then just didn't do simple camera edit. Like the skill it took to do like it's just sorry it's the effort it put in such the uniquely wrong spot to make the movie better. Like those birds, one, didn't need to be there for the most part. Could have been a bit of celluloid with and then like moved up and down, like saying like it's just the cheapest 1950s way of doing it.
Yeah,
and he goes full out and then just doesn't bother to like the simple editing stuff that literally I don't know how to edit. And I could learn to do in 25 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like you could have gone outside and like shot a bird flying in the air, like from a distance.
Yes, it's bananas. And then there's just these other scenes where, okay, we need the interior shot of a cave. Let's just tack up some garbage bags to a wall.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I get it for a student film or something, but they're doing exteriors of a cave, right? In those woods. Why not just shoot it from the outside and just put some fucking plywood on top?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's rocks right there.
Yeah.
Like it's just, you have woods permits or you don't care and shooting the woods is probably more likely.
Yeah.
But the fact is, just throw some fucking plywood on top so the sun doesn't hit directly on the fucking lens and go, hey, look, we're inside the cave now. It's bananas.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird. I mean, there's a lot that's weird about this, including the monster design itself. But we can get into that.
Oh yeah, and how everybody that gets killed has lots and lots of arms and legs that
lots
regrow
of arms
at random.
And the way blood works when you get hit with like an arrow or your arm is torn off, it just flies out all at once.
Yep.
And then that like one immediate burst, and then that's it.
Leaves none on the ground afterwards, or very, very little on the ground afterwards.
Now, here's the thing. So there's an interview with David Wascavage, where he talked about with Hack the Movies on YouTube, and he talks about he grew up loving or renting horrible B-movie stuff, and that's kind of what taught him how to make movies. He didn't like formally study anything at all, which obviously, but And he was very like in that interview. He's very like, hey, we were trying, and it was kind of dumb, but golly gee, But then you see another, and they feature it. Apparently, this is on the DVD, but they feature it on the Red Letter Media review. Like there's a recorded behind the scenes thing of him, and he is deadly serious about what he's doing.
Yes.
Which I kind of appreciate, and I think that's part of why this is great, is because it's not some stupid Sharknado like wink wink. Like I do think they know that some of it's silly and some of it is like, what can we get away with? But in a way that's not like we're trying to be dumb on purpose. Like they're trying in those degrees, you know, in that way. And I do think that, like, regardless of whether or not effort was put into it, it still should be criticized, because that doesn't matter. That's not the point of criticism. But because you can kind of tell that like some love went into it, it does soften the blow of this movie.
Yeah. It's just it's some of the rookie mistakes are just like the kind of baffling stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when you find out that it's a grown man that made this movie and not some punk kids, you're like, oh, okay.
Which is confusing. So I heard about this a few years back, and that's the very first time I watched it. And I watched, maybe I heard an interview with him. It doesn't matter. But this was either before it got super well known as a B movie, or maybe it was just when it was starting to get well known. But back then, his tone about the movie wasn't, I was just trying to make a B movie. You're right. It was dead serious. Like, he was trying to make high art. It was, so it was weird for me this time watching and trying to find some interviews of his kind of laid back, I'm just making fucking around. Just, of course it's fucked up. Where it's like, oh, yeah, that's not the way you used to present this. And that's fine. It's not like the Tommy Wiseau thing where it's like, oh yes, I always knew it was like a dark comedy. Yeah, I made it that way. It's like, no, you didn't. He
kind of does the same thing where he does say that, like, we spent a lot of time, and one of my favorite things in that Hack the Movies interview is he's like, people see my movie, they say like Lord of the Rings had like, hundreds of thousands of more dollars to make their movie, but it's not like it was hundreds of thousand times better. Yes, it was. It absolutely was. And it wasn't just the money. It was absolutely everything about it. But that's always very like, like, hey, we're trying our best, and we really worked at this. But then later with every question, he's like, it's good enough. Yeah, it's good enough. But I completely understand that, like, you're still kind of protective of it because you worked on it. But it's you could have done so much stuff. Like, you put some thought into anything.
So the other thing, and again, I don't want this whole episode to be us just ragging on the movie, the individual, like, you suck at filmmaking parts, but this is the part that I can't get over. So obviously he had an editing rig. This is digital shots. Why would you repeat the same 2-second loop for the monster audio? Yeah. Because I can, like, as somebody that, like, I don't make movies, but I 100% today, if given the challenge, could make more convincing Bigfoot audio without dropping it in the actual movie in every scene. Yeah. I could make a 4-minute loop in 45 minutes.
Yeah, Bigfoot, whenever
you just have to drop it in the soundtrack. It is so that is the easiest audio thing to do in the fucking universe. I do not understand the choice here.
Yeah, so whenever Bigfoot shows up, he goes,
I think I did a pretty perfect impression to open the show.
Yeah, it's just like that, and it's just repeated over and over and over again. Whereas even if you recorded a 30-second loop, you would have different sounds in there, and then you could piece them together. No, it's just and it's again this very odd choice of where focus was put in this movie of like, yeah, that's good enough. I need to really work on the CG arrow. Like it was. It's very bizarre.
So the other thing I don't and you actually might be able to answer this for me because you did do a sword and sorcery movie. The way they shot the Native American lady who Tala is what my screen says, but IMDb says Talia. So whatever. That lady, the way they shot her, shooting an arrow at the Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. You don't see a lot of shots where the arrow goes directly into the Bigfoot from, like, the way it's framed, there's no reason why it couldn't be 2 different angles. Thereby, you don't need CGI. You could just shoot an arrow.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't understand the thought. So is that a difficult, and I'm going to put it in quote, stunts? Is this harder than I think from a non-movie maker? Because it feels like that should be easy.
Well, yeah, you would think it would just be have shot of her firing the arrow at no one, and then like throw the arrow at him. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
It's
Or
just-
even
this
or
is my thought.
do that cheapo thing they do all the time, and we did this in that Kid Core movie for knife throwing, where action and then you do a whip pan and then the arrows in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
But no, they didn't want to spend money on. They want to damage the suit, I guess, and they wanted to have that CG blood. I don't know. It was an unfortunate choice to do it that way, I think.
It's so weird. Okay, so let's kind of go through this movie in order. Obviously, we don't need to focus on the plot because I'm not sure that there is one. I mean, there is, I guess, but not anyway. So our first kill, and we can skip over the boring ones, which this one is two teens in a car. I'm not quite sure, but John, what do you think that the lady, the little girl that's in the car, what do you think her feelings on going to that party is vis-a-vis how far away it is and what time it is?
She did not want to go to this party.
You sure?
There's about 3 minutes of dialogue.
Did she say that?
Yeah. Of her, it's like, I don't want to go to this party. It's too far away. And the dude going, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We're driving.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun.
And then she goes back like, it's far away. I don't think I should go to this party. It's as if, because she just keeps saying the same thing. A lot of this movie, it's them saying the same thing. And then
Neil
just
Breen
saying
style,
it again, slightly like out of order.
Yep.
Like as if, and I know this isn't what happened, but it's as if he did multiple takes and went, all right, do this one the way you want to, and this one we're going to do with my dialogue. And then he ended up using both. It's not. I bet you this was in the script that way. And it's fucking.
Oh, that's totally a Neil Breen move where, they'll say that he says the same thing in like 2 different ways in what he thinks are 2 different intonations. They're absolutely not.
But Neil Breen's like a fucking genius in comparison to this.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
So the kids get killed, and I mean, the only thing to really talk about with that is while the Sasquatch is killing them, you see arms and fully defleshed bones flying in the air.
Yeah, it's like very cheaply, very awful, like comped in, but it's great. Like it is. You're watching it and like, boy, this is really terrible. But as soon as that kill happens, I was excited. I was like, okay. Like I'm on board for this. Yeah.
It's just inexplicable. Because then when we get to the crime scene of their deaths, so we see the girl ripped limb from limb, literally see limbs flying in the air and defleshed bones, which I'm sure there's a word for that, but I don't know what it is. And my thought was desiccated, but that's not the right word. But I bet you there's a fancy word like that.
Sure.
We see the guy get his head smashed in. And then when we get to the crime scene of their murder, the guy's head is fine. She's got all of her limbs, or maybe one's tucked underneath her. And there's inexplicably a hand in the car door. Did you notice that behind the one cop?
Yeah.
So there's like just extra pieces laying around. It is okay, John. Can you tell them about the cop uniform so I don't have an aneurysm?
Yeah. So the cop uniforms are the 2 policemen in this burg. Like I don't even know where they are. They're somewhere in like the.
They're in Pennsylvania.
Oh, they're in Pennsylvania. Okay. They are ill-fitting brown shirts with brown tape for epaulets and like weird ties. No badges of any kind. I guess there's a shiny one on the helmet, or on the hats, which are too small for the one guy, and they kind of look like those hats Dom DeLuise would wear in his later career.
Well done, Grandpa.
Kind of
I hate
Jiffy
that.
Pop hats. Yeah.
Yes, I understood that reference, and I feel old for it.
No belts. So they're always holding their guns. There's no holsters.
There's no gun holster. They're literally always holding their guns. Yeah,
which is, I think, a commentary on police action. Yeah, they're very bad. And
the one cop, so I call them Thin Cop and Fat Cop.
Yeah.
Fat Cop could also be called Smash Mouth Cop, but I'm going to call him Fat Cop. But he's got like a 1997 beard. What do you call that? Like when you just got like a little dirt patch on your chin?
Yeah, I mean it's the start of an anthrax beard. Like it's the nub of it's like just a goatee tuft.
Yeah.
Like if you took a stuffed animal like a black rabbit and you just shoved it into his chin, that would be like the little tail sticking out.
Yeah. Or like it's like if you could find high school pictures of Guy Fieri, that's probably what it looked like.
Yeah.
And then he's got 2 really bad earrings that,
yes.
I mean, they're sure they're fine for real life, but like definitely not a cop. Also later in the film, you see him with a really tight shirt on. He's got like a barbed wire, like douchebag jersey short tattoo.
Oh, well, he's got that great,
so perfect.
like Baltimore accent. Like, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's good. Or is that Philly? I don't know, but it's that
That's
crappy,
what
like,
you just did.
Mid-Atlantic.
What you just did was Philly. That's like, get yourself some water, hun.
Yeah, then that's what he's got. Like,
Yeah.
I just said that a billion times after he said it because it was very much that accent.
He's fine, actually. I mean, everybody in this is, well, not everybody, but for the most part, everybody in this movie is either not an actor or a bad actor.
Yeah, I mean, there is very much the you go to war with the army you have in this movie because it is such a no budget. You get the sense that it's a lot of family and friends.
But there is a range of bad acting, and he isn't. This movie isn't worse for that man's performance. I'll put it that way.
And I will say the other cop is not a great actor either, but I appreciate that he tries because there's so much like flat nonsense in this.
He had a bit of charisma, or at least he would, or maybe it's just that he was giving an attempt. But I found myself liking that other cop, the thin cop. He like, I was on his side. Like, it's like, I want good things for you.
Yeah, I hope you're okay, buddy.
I just can't stress that. So everybody at home, if you have Amazon Prime, this movie's free. So, watch some of it.
It's also on Tubi.
Or not to be. That's the question.
Yeah, that is the question.
Where there's no in mind to suffer the slings and arrows of
let's not bring Shakespeare into this.
Of a Hispanic lady pretending to be. That's true. Of outrageous Sasquatches, or to die, to sleep in a tent until medicine gets cured. So watch. This is the first 4 minutes of the movie. Just get through. Just see the cop uniforms. I've never. It's as if someone was like, if you like were drunk, you're like, here, dude, try to draw like a giraffe from memory, or like try to draw a cop from memory. You're like, I don't know, they got like bars or something on their tits, right? Don't they have like tit bars? All right, yeah, just do that. They got guns, have them hold the gun, Like I'm surprised they don't have like 4 fingers, with like the first one being longer than the others.
Yeah, my brain rebelled against the tape on the shoulders. The tape
so
it's like, it was like, is that tape? It couldn't be tape. And then my brain was like, it's not tape. Come on, man, that's ridiculous. And like about halfway through the movie, I went like, no, it's tape.
That's the first death.
And it's glorious. Like it is so. Yeah. And again, going back to his, and whether or not this was his initial intent or not, he did say like people having fun, even if they're laughing at it, whatever, they're having fun. And that was again sort of in my own filmmaking experience, something that you wanted. Like I don't think that there was ever anything that I ever made where, because even when I'm attempting a comedy, and you obviously want people to laugh, but it's just like, are you enjoying yourself? Fantastic. I made something that's getting a reaction. That's wonderful.
I remember you actually told me and didn't talk to me for a month after you drunkenly sent me that video, and I laughed at the size of your, and because I'm telling you, I laughed at it and you got upset.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's different. That was less of you weren't commenting on the overall quality. I feel like you were throwing out the baby penis with the bathwater.
Oh, okay. So, I should have said, John, I love the framing on this. The lighting is fucking superb. You have a tiny baby dick.
Yeah. Which this is probably all gonna get cut, but have I ever told you about Jabba the Dick?
No, I wish you had though. So
when we would make our short films, we would show them at this thing called IT Night, Independent Tuesday, because it was just before YouTube, and it was just a way for people to show stuff they made, and usually there was like a theme every month. You would make stuff. There's one month where a guy showed a movie, and it was called Jabba the Dick. It was basically it's him playing with Star Wars characters, like having little Star Wars action figures be characters, and they meet Jabba, which is his penis painted green, and I think there's an eye on it. And it's a lot of the movie, and it's like, okay, yep, there's your penis. But the thing that I was most offended by was at one point they're like, to create peace we have to burn these bamba bushes, and there were these huge nugs of weed. And it was like, whoa, dude, you smoke weed? That's cool. Look at how cool you are.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everyone's mad at his dick.
I just want to be very clear here. When I was laughing at that, I was not laughing with him.
Yeah.
I just want that to be clear, because I bet you there's some people that actually find that. And I'm not blaming you if you find that concept funny. I just read through that and understood how insufferable this person was.
Yeah. And he is. I could probably record an hour episode about it. But
yeah, because I know this man. I literally, my entire information about this band is what you said right there. I already know I don't like him. Like it's I just read through. Yeah. But anyway, how did it look nice? Was he? Was he?
Yeah, it was fine. It was a dick. It was it was painted green and had an eye on it.
Right, so sexy.
Yeah. So it's one of those it's like Charlize Theron in Monster. Just lost. It was lost in the role.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Unrecognizable.
Yeah, back when I was a little bit heavier, I got lost. Mine got lost in my role one time.
Oh my God.
All right, so let's get to the next kill, which on my list, and jump in if I did this out of order, but the next one I have is, and I think it's my favorite thing that happens in the movie. Just one section of it is the guys that are fishing that get murdered by the.
Yes.
Okay. So these two guys are fishing in a dirty Pennsylvania creek.
Yeah, one of them is the director.
Oh, is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they're jerks and they're throwing beer cans in the water. Because one of the themes of this is environmental impact.
Right, because he's complaining about how busy everything is because of the suburban development.
And so basically this is kind of like Sasquatch is like nature's kind of avenger, if you will.
Yeah.
But the main thing to take away from this scene is Sasquatch rolls up, hacks the guy's stomach open, and then feeds him his own entrails.
Yes.
And that's a hilarious thought. But it's done so badly. There's not enough blood. It's not like this guy needs a little bit more Sam Raimi to him. Or just someone should have introduced him to where you can buy Caro syrup and red food dye. Because I don't get why there's no blood in this movie. But it doesn't matter. Because the best thing in the world happens. The Sasquatch rips this guy's leg off and throws it so hard at the other fellow that it breaks his sternum, I guess, and leaves him face down in the water. And
now this I also like because it's not just because later you see a lot of Sasquatch eating people. It is, and it's not just like, oh, you're in my way, I'm a monster, or I'm a feral animal, I'm going to kill you. Like, it's needlessly cruel. I'm going to take out your stomach and then feed it to you. Which I think if it's anything like his other movie, Fungicide, the gore in that was made out of like dyed chicken skins. So it might be some of the same stuff.
I just don't understand. Like, just get some fucking like corn syrup and dye it red. It's just, I don't.
Yeah, it's really.
Why did you not try? Like, because I like his ideas for just over the top murder, just limbs flying everywhere.
Well, and you do see. I mean, it does get a little gory when he kills the mechanic.
Yeah, that's the one kind of. Yeah. He actually did put a little like kind of prosthetic there. Yeah.
Yeah,
but still, it's not
even if you don't want to get all Peter Jackson dead alive with it, you could still push it a little bit more than he did. Particularly if you're going to have someone feed you your own entrails.
That's what I want, is more Peter Jackson dead alive. We don't need a 15-minute lawnmower scene, although I wouldn't say no.
I'm never going to say no to that. Because
there's a lot of this movie, or at least a few scenes in the movie, where there's a very spiritual meeting between, there's a Native American lady and her dad, grandpa, this Italian guy, that's her grandpa. And it's on like just a well-mown lawn. Like it's just.
That's the thing. So none of it makes sense in terms of the sort of the theme of this subdivision is encroaching on nature. So nature sends Bigfoot to stop it, but it also sends a Native American person to save white suburbia. Like that does not make any sense unless her grandpa is like the spirit of white suburban dudes. And I think he is. Because he looks like a guy who lives on your street and calls you because you left your garage door open.
Yeah, no, he's obviously like an old Italian man.
Yeah.
Which, like Chief Iron Eyes Cody, was an old Italian man. So maybe that's the reference here. Again, I'm a million years old and I make references that all the kids are going to get.
I think it just went, hey, Ted, you're old. You want to be in this movie? Absolutely.
Yeah. Though, I got to say, one of the better performances in the film.
Yeah. I believed he was sitting down.
Yeah, he's sitting down, he's saying stuff. There was some gravitas to it. I mean, it's the easiest role to pull off as well.
Yeah.
But, so she, we find out we've got a Native American lady, Talia, it's Tala, whatever, that's going to kill Bigfoot because, it doesn't make sense.
She's a Bigfoot hunter.
Well, no, that part makes sense. It just doesn't make sense that, like, she's so close to nature that she's trying to kill the nature spirit that's protecting nature.
Exactly.
It just doesn't, it's that part. But, and this is the part that I say this hesitantly. No, fuck it. I'm going to own this shit. I'm coming out of the closet and saying, that lady, pretty good actress.
Yeah, not bad for this,
like,
for this whole thing.
She showed up. She did it. I mean, other than she looks really awkward, like maybe she should have done some basic learn how to shoot a bow and arrow. Other than that, well done. It's actually, it's kind of surprising. Well, I don't want to do it. I mean, yeah, I'll just say it now because we're on the topic and it's directly related. The lead guy in this movie, the reporter, who we haven't been introduced to quite yet, is fucking awful.
He's very bad.
Like, very bad. I mean, not fun bad, not, oh, there's some lines he delivers awkwardly.
I don't understand how anyone, I mean, like the cops I get because they're costumes, but I'm assuming this dude just provided his own wardrobe. I don't know. No one's outfit fits them. Like, he wears this shirt that's like 20 times too big for him. And I don't think that was the style at the time.
Maybe it was.
I don't know. Those are more like Jinkos, less big shirts.
Oh yeah, that's about 8 years before. Yeah, no, that's significant. No, not 8 years, but like, yeah, that's before that. Yeah. So in this situation, I like to think of, there's a certain thing that happens when you're casting low budget movies is you either cast the best actor you can get or just get a handsome person.
Mm-hmm.
Why not do one of those two things instead of cast? He's not like an ugly guy, but he's just he just looks like a guy.
Yeah.
Well,
and his whole storyline doesn't make much sense to me. So he wants to be a reporter, but he hasn't written anything. He goes to the newspaper office, which is in a school.
Yeah, they're playing football in the background.
They're playing football, but you know what?
Yeah.
But I love it. You got access to it, use it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me at all. I mean, why can't the newspaper be next to the school? I mean, the school could be on the other side. That's fine.
Right. Well, it's more just that I'm more irritated with the dude, the newspaper editor who's trying to be in like Glengarry Glen Ross. And I appreciate that you're acting, buddy. You're trying, but it's just like, oh, you do not back this up at all. You do not seem like you're capable of backing this up. But yeah, so he goes to like try to ask for an advance, and he's like, no, you need to write something that's good. And that puts him on the trail of, that makes him want to write about Bigfoot. Because he thinks that these murders, the cops are covering up these murders that have happened.
And he's trying to figure out what goes on behind it. But let's really stay here just for a second. So he doesn't work for the newspaper yet.
Mm-mm.
What does he need the money for?
To work for the newspaper. Journalism's a crazy business in this world of VCs and Substacks.
So it doesn't make any sense, is what you're saying.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, so I don't really understand, but he just said, like, in context of the movie, it's, I'm going to follow this story so I can write this story, but I needed an advance so I could write this story. Well, why not just why not in the movie just say he works there?
Yeah.
And then the cop doesn't want this, the boss doesn't want the story. Like, why? I don't get the whole advance thing because there's no, why did you learn like high end fucking CGI modeling and not just go, oh yeah, I'll just write this? It just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, this is another example of, like sort of the cart before the horse thing where it's like you wanted him, well, he needs to, he's a character, he needs to have something to overcome, but like you went too far. It's not, you could have just said like, well, he needs to write a big article because he's, just make it so he's about to lose his job or something. I don't know. They just made it needlessly complicated.
So the next scene I have down is, and I think this is the only line in the movie that I actually like for like writing reasons, is this little kid's playing in his backyard and he sees the Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
So he runs in all flipping out and he goes to his mom. He's like, Mom, there's a Bigfoot and I'm a child actor and I'm actually still better than the lead in this movie. And the mom goes, no, come on, a monster. Monsters aren't real. They're like the boogeyman or your father.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually like a good line. I mean, again, in context, we're not, this was in a real movie. I wouldn't have thought twice about it.
I was too busy being irritated that that was done in like a reverse shot of like the kid's point of view and her point of view. Both are talking directly to the camera. It's like, now I'm the mom, now I'm the kid.
Oh yeah.
And I was too busy trying to figure out like, why would you do that? Why did you? Because you could have staged it different. If it was like, well, it's tight because they're in this hallway, you could have staged it differently. I don't know. It was driving me nuts. And I was too busy lost in that to really, really appreciate the fine wit at play here.
Then the other thing I want to compliment this movie on while we're here, because I'm going to forget, is the score in this is actually good. And I mean that like not ironically. It's mixed well. It doesn't get in the way of the dialogue. And it sounds, I mean, it's probably just stock shit you got online.
Some of it's corny as hell, but it fits.
It's totally fine. And the main thing is it's not too loud, which is drives me. I mean, I've talked about it on the show all the time. It drives me fucking nuts. But like the sound mixing in this, other than the levels are where we want them. I mean, maybe they just leveled everything to the exact same spot and there's no dynamic range, but I don't care. They did it that it wasn't annoying and I didn't have to ride by fucking volume like
Right.
knob. So
Yeah.
well done.
It's also though like some of the sounds are so bad. Like the whatever like .mp3 they got for Fire is super like tinny and compressed and all, you know. It sounds like something you would find on like a GeoCities page or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, those are terrible. But at least it's the volume it's
But
supposed to be.
it's
That's
consistent.
movies are so shit at that, and I think it's it's obviously a choice because they're just kind of aping big movies, but it's hard to pull that off. So smaller
Yeah.
movies, I like a nice consistent like the audio's fine. Yeah, no, every sound effect is not every, but like there's a peel out sound effect that's really bad.
Yeah, it seems like
any of
he got them online, and I mean that like he ordered a CD from someone or he downloaded them off of LimeWire and just like found like the worst ones because so many of the sound effects are so bad.
So yeah, the Bigfoot captures Tommy's mom. His mom first tries to fight her with the Bigfoot with a broom,
With
and
a
they actually
broom.
do try to do like a little bit of cinema making there, where they do from Bigfoot's perspective at the broom coming at the camera.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, at least he made it.
But that's an
sound.
example of like they add this like shoof shoof of the broom. Which
Yeah.
I mean, which helps sell how ineffective it is, but doesn't do much for the drama of the scene.
Oh yeah.
And also I should mention before I don't know if we want to get into the monster now, but in a lot of times, a lot of cases where you see the Bigfoot, particularly from the side, the person is clearly on a ladder or step or a box or something, so they could be higher up, and then they just have poorly comped in more legs. Like they took a still of its legs and then like moved it down.
Oh, is that what they did?
And overlaid
Okay,
it.
yeah.
That's what it looks like, or something.
Yeah.
It's try to extend the legs to make it look taller, but it just looks like it has weird long legs. Yeah, the monster itself is very unfortunately designed. It's basically like an ape costume, but it's got like big gross nipples.
Big gross nipples, like big, like people at home. You can't stress enough how big and gross these nipples are.
Yeah.
Hey,
Just
no,
like-
let me take that back. Sorry, wait, John. Let's be fair. Big gross areola.
Yes, sure. But like his whole like chesticle area just looks like potatoes. It's very gross. You had teased this in the last episode.
I did.
And I went back and forth on whether this was actually a thing. So Bigfoot's got nards. Bigfoot's got a dick, basically.
No, it doesn't have darts. Bigfoot has a big, swinging, hairy Bigfoot dick.
Yeah.
But only in some scenes.
And only in some scenes. And so I was trying to figure that out, if this was like, was it just like a flap of the costume that like wasn't closed, or was it supposed to like button together like a
No.
like a cat suit or something? No, and they in that same interview with him, he talks about how he initially, to present his aggressive male nature, he basically put a pouch, a large pouch in the front of the Bigfoot costume, and he put like a bolt and some nuts in there to give it some weight so it would swing around. He didn't want to focus on it, but he wanted it to be there. And then the actor who was in the Bigfoot suit was like, without mentioning it, was kind of like, did you know that there's a... Yeah, and so he took the nuts and bolts out, but yeah, the floppy flap is still there. Again, just a baffling choice to like.
Well, there's also, and sorry, I totally jumped on you, but I'm going to finish my thought here. Because I'm the dick expert here. Why would you make a big hairy dick?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't, like, so if you're going to if you're going to give it genitals, and I mean, I don't actually think you really need to, but you would make it skin colored. You don't,
Right.
You don't have hairy. So just don't do it. Just don't. Maybe for a cut reel, fine. Like a joke for one scene. It's such a weird choice again of why make it. What, like literally you could just buy a X inch long dildo and throw it in the front. Like yeah.
Well, I mean, like everything else, it wouldn't surprise me if it is just like it was a poorly thought out thing. Like, oh well,
No, I know,
I'll do
but
this, and that guy like doesn't really follow it through in a way that makes any sense. Yeah, just because the whole idea of it, like, well, I'm going to try to tie it to this sort of maleness thing subconsciously. It's a movie about a giant Sasquatch, man. Like, either go all in or don't.
Well, that's that's the other part of it too, is that the whole male aspect of it is, I get it. It's the male aspect of like Mother Nature's mother, so he's the defender male. Okay. But he's also rapes women.
Yeah.
Which is, again, goes against the whole, like, he's Mother Nature's defender thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he's just a demon. Like, it's just, it doesn't really hold. And again, I'm not expecting a movie like this to make coherent sense for the most part. But these are, like, fundamental, like, if in the middle of you're watching, I know it's based on a comic book, but fuck it. Like, if you're in the middle of watching Swamp Thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he just turns to the camera and goes, I'm made out of meat. And then just goes back to the Swamp Thing. We're just like, what? Wait, what just happened? Yeah, what? No, you can't. You're not made. No, okay, no. Scene change. Okay, cool.
But I would feel more comfortable if it seemed like a fetish movie. You know what I mean? If it was like, this guy's really into hairy dicks. Like it's at least an ethos, man. Like this is just like, is that a dick? Did I see that?
Yeah, either put focus on it and make it weird, or don't have one. It's just it's like Chewbacca. You don't think about Chewbacca's dick unless you really like, you know, take a second to do it. But like when you're watching that movie,
movies,
you don't.
Yes.
Yeah, but you don't like. Yeah, but you don't watch those and go like, oh, where's his dick? Like it's not like a. But if in one scene they draw attention to the fact he's covered his dick, that's, you know, that's now great. Now I got
the rest of the
Chewbacca
movie, you're
head.
like, does anyone else see this? Does no one notice it?
Yeah,
because no one comments on it is the other thing. And then granted, not that you're like, hey, there's that bear, check out his dick, but it's still just, I don't know. It was another in a series of bizarre choices.
He kidnaps Timmy's mom, and then we find out later he brutally sexually assaults her, which is
fun.
Cool.
Whee!
Glad this fun B movie had to bring that up. So, well, we kind of covered it, but at some point, guy that was in the river before, face down, about an hour, multiple hours later, wakes up. Because
he wakes up like he's not just floating there; he's floating face down. He's like, "Whoa, I'm waking up now."
So he finds the cave with the kidnapped women in it, and he just stares at her for like a while as she's begging for help, and then hears the and runs away like a coward and cries in a bathroom for one of the cops to show up. Which we don't need to talk about that. He's crying in a bathroom.
Yeah.
What's the next thing then?
Well,
So there's two ladies like running in the woods, and
they're on a hike, and this was a bold choice to mic their feet. Don't worry about the dialogue, but I need to hear the crunching of the leaves. It really helps put me in the scene.
I can understand what they're saying, so I don't care. Again, my bar's low, but he basically kills them. But while this is happening, we get this is, I think, the first kind of hero shot of our Native American lady who sucks at shooting bow and arrows. And there's not really a lot happens. She shoots at him, and that's it.
Well, yeah, like so she fires the CG arrow. It hits him, and blood spurts out, and like CG blood goes, and then stops immediately. And then he turns and runs away. He, by the way, Bigfoot has is it teleporting or is it cloaking? Because he will disappear. And I'm not sure if it's supposed to be that like he's like the Predator or that he can like warp.
I think it's more teleporting, because she says that he like exists in another dimension, or can exist in like another dimension.
Okay.
I think it's kind of like he's going to the dimension next door.
The Bigfoot dimension.
Yeah, finding John the Elder, and then finding like a weird sentient tree. This lady called Maggie who wears a dress.
Periphery, available now.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's the book I wrote. Periphery, available on Amazon.com. Search for Alex Baldwin.
So she fires the arrow at him, at Bigfoot, hits him, and then Bigfoot turns and runs away. He is really just across the street, and she's like, "There's no way I can get him. There's no way I can chase after him."
He's within what I would like to call really, really, really easy arrow distance.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can't shoot. Like, I haven't shot an arrow since about, I don't know, middle school. We had some archery lessons in gym. And I'm telling you right now, I could have, I'm not saying I'd hit him, but I could have gotten an arrow to go that far very easily.
Yeah, it is. And it's just like framed, because it's a single shot of him in like in the middle distance running away. And she's just like, oh, dang, he's too far away.
It's again, it's baffling because again, like he's got disappearing powers.
Yeah.
But beyond that, just just you could have him be farther away.
But that would be such an easy fix because it is a locked off shot. Just have him fade out. Just, like comp it, have him fade out, and then it makes way more sense than that. I do wonder if maybe like whoever edited this movie, because I don't know if it was him or not.
I think it was like, if I'm looking at the thing, is John P. in camera. So it looks like they just did one take. And
yeah. Well, I just mean but to do some stuff, if it was like he had such a limited time with the actual editor, like, this suite they rented or something at the public access station.
Whatever. Think that's the problem.
It just seems like so much stuff was rushed.
Because I heard in an interview, he made a comment about the noise that he ran out of time and said, fuck it, that's good enough.
Yeah.
There's one part that's insult to injury about the noise. There's another Bigfoot noise in one scene. He goes like, oh, at one point. And that just drove me fucking insane. It's like, you piece of shit. You looped that 1 second fucking sound clip this whole movie, and then you had another Bigfoot noise fucking in your pocket. Oh, fuck. Like, that actually turned me on the filmmaker. Because that would be like sweet, sweet water after wandering in the desert. If after like 2 minutes you hear the in the middle of the but no, it happened. What? Fuck you, fucking David Miscavige. The journalist around here goes to a restaurant to meet with some guy that looks like he's cosplaying a 1980s serial killer.
Yeah, he kind of looks like that actor Jesse Plemons.
From Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, or Fargo, Friday Night Lights, whatever. Who he looks like his twin that got all the recessive genes.
Okay.
And I know this man can't control how he looks, and it's cruel to make fun of him. But whatever. I feel bad about myself, and I'm trying to feel big. This guy looks like a weirdo.
But here's the thing about him though. He's got a good that guy face that he could be a character actor to give him like a little bit of credit. Like he could easily be in a Coen Brothers movie. Like he's got a good that guy face. It just here's the problem with him in this movie. I don't know who he is. I don't know why our lead character talked to him. What's our lead character? Rick?
Sure.
Yeah, Rick. And then he shows up for about 30 seconds. Also, so Rick at one point visits his grandma for about 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. We watched the whole thing. There's no cuts. So like he's literally the entire time there is 3 minutes visiting his grandma. He goes hangs out with this guy to grab a beer with him. Less than 2 minutes. And the guy doesn't finish his beer. But then any fucking time we have two people talk, like other times we've got the teenagers talking that establish the same information 30 times. Now this is, let's not establish any information and have it less.
Yeah.
This movie's so fucking incompetent.
Yeah. And again, like it's a scene that doesn't need to be there. Like Rick's struggle to get work, like no one cares.
Yeah.
No one, everyone just wants to watch Sasquatch fuck people up. I don't need like his internal struggle to find work. I don't care enough.
Yeah. Here's another inexplicable thing. So, one of the next scenes, another awful day for night scene where Thin Cop is driving around and he runs into Bigfoot. Okay. One question is this.
Oh God.
So, we talked about their uniforms, right?
Yeah.
And we're assuming this movie's super low budget. Where did they get the money to rent a cop car?
That's money they would have spent on the uniforms.
Yeah, but because what would be easy is dressing up a car to look like a cop car.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a lot. Like you can do that for like really cheap. Like or just not have it look like a cop car,
or just have the two cops be like detectives and they're wearing suits.
Fine. It's just so weird to spend money on renting a somewhat authentic looking or an authentic look, I don't know, cop car and not give him uniform. Anyway, but
maybe his brother was on the force and they could use the car, but not the uniforms. I don't know.
Frankly, that's probably real. But the key takeaway from this is Bigfoot shows up and banging on the car. And then Bigfoot, using a feat of strength that is not known since the trials of Heracles himself, lifts up this cop car over his head in what I'm going to call the most realistic shot I've ever seen.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
It made me so happy when this happened.
It is like bright sunshine.
It is. It's great. Like it's so like it's clearly just a like still of a cop car that Bigfoot pretends to lift up, and the car kind of like shrinks and grows as it needs to to fit. But it's one of those where, like, in this kind of movie, you're like, hell yes, this rules.
Yes. It was very, very funny.
Yeah.
The thing that made it even funnier is we've already established that there's 3D computer generated images in this movie. So for there to be this 2D fucking clip art cop car, oh god, that made me laugh.
It's wonderful. It's that sort of like no budget charm where you're like, you did it. Oh my gosh. Like, I see where you're going for it. I'm so happy that this is the route you chose.
The next scene is probably the other best scene in it is this guy loses his dog, Muffy.
Oh, yeah.
And then he crawls through a hedge and it turns out Muffy's near Bigfoot. And Bigfoot lifts up Muffy and then I guess puts her back down, lifts up a stuffed doll, covers it in fake blood. And by covers it, I mean puts a tiny little bit of fake blood on the side and rips the dog in half.
Yeah, just needless animal cruelty. But I almost wish there was more of that kind of nonsense than weird backstories for people.
It's so weird in this context too, because it's it doesn't matter. It's just it's established. We get Sasquatch's character.
Yeah.
It doesn't add anything to go, but it's like so it's like if you're just gonna have like a fun kill, you have to do it a lot more gory than that. Not just like it's a stuffed doll with like a tiny little bit of red paint on it.
Yeah. Or, maybe like set up the dog earlier, like it's like the mean old woman from Gremlins. It's her dog, or you know what I mean? Like have it be a character, not just like, okay. Because now it's like, well, that sucks that you just randomly killed a dog in the worst way possible, but
yeah. Oh yeah. The next scene we kind of need to talk about here. We got to like a waspy lady and her friend driving through the suburbs. And she's just munching on a hot dog for no reason.
No. She is not merely munching. She is savoring that hot dog.
She's enjoying that hot dog at a deep level.
The camera is showing her chewing it very closely, intercut with Bigfoot eating some flesh off of bones.
Yes.
Why? That's up for you, the audience, to decide.
Well, I think again, it doesn't make sense with. I think what is that consumerism of suburbia is like killing the nature, like he's killing humans. Again, it doesn't make sense with him being on nature's side, but also being against nature. But it doesn't.
But they don't. But this person doesn't live there because they don't know where they're going. Like
no. She bought a house there because she shows her friend.
Okay.
She said, "Oh, do you want to see the lot where my house is?" Because the reason I remember that is it makes it so much worse that they got lost.
Yeah.
How do you not know where your fucking house you're buying? Like, how rich are you?
Yeah.
Because also, if you're that rich, which I think that's what they're trying to show, because they had all this shopping and stuff in the back of the car.
And she's got hot dog money.
I mean, that's the thing is, what rich people eating hot dogs?
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, at least put some caviar on that dog, lady.
But it was just this like nude, plain ass hot dog. She's just jamming into her mouth.
Yeah, no condiments either.
Yeah. It was really gross.
It was really fucking weird. So Bigfoot attacks her and Native American lady stops. And this is some of the best CGI of the movie. Bigfoot picks up a CGI log.
Oh god.
And then she throws CGI hatchets at the CGI log.
Yep.
It's so fucking terrible.
Yeah. I don't know why they did this. But they did.
Yeah.
And the log just looks like the Mucinex guy. Like, it looks like the 1990s version of that Mucinex guy. That kind of gross mucus color.
Yeah. I think the worst part of it is, I know you can't lift a human actor's not going to lift a full log over his head. But like, you got to, like a paper mache log.
Yeah. I think there's better ways to go about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Again, with the hatchets, like, why even bother? But like, I'm glad you did. It's terrible, but
yeah, it's true. I mean, I'm not actually complaining because it gave me joy, but it is kind of a baffling choice.
Yeah, and also why she even has them. But if the whole thing is that he can only be killed by an arrow to the heart, but whatever.
Well, I think it's magical instruments. So I bet you they're magical hatchets.
Probably, yeah.
Because I think it's that, hey, look, she's Native Americans are therefore must be mystical.
Then it's got to be
'Cause,
mystical.
Yeah. Somewhere around here, I don't really care what order it is. This is where we get the flashback to John, the fat cop. And he's
Don't
in
know what you're doing.
our home state of Oregon, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm really happy I found this kind of trashy lady, and I'm sitting here with my shitty barbed wire tattoo." And he's like, "I'm gonna go inside and get me some lemonade."
Some
And they're like
lemonade.
kissing and really happy about how kissing they are. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is only gonna end well." and Bigfoot comes and just he fucks him up, and then steals his girl, and then presumably sexually assaults her in a cave somewhere.
Well, so when he fucks him up, the guy goes in and grabs his shotgun. And
yes, correct.
Some of just the worst CG like muzzle flashes. It just looks like it spits out a cloud of mustard gas.
Yes, it is as bad as Birdemic, which I know you've not seen Birdemic, but
what I
people
love
at home will understand this.
Is that like so he keeps firing while running towards Bigfoot, and eventually just gets right next to Bigfoot, and then Bigfoot takes his gun and throws it away. It's a gun.
And this happens multiple times in the movie where people with guns run to it. It's like Superman, where you throw your gun at the end.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Yeah,
Just shoot him from far away. That's what guns. That's how guns work.
yeah. So that's why John the Fat Cop has like this vendetta against Bigfoot, and is shocked that he's around.
But okay, so help me understand this.
No, I mean, I'll give it a shot.
Okay,
But
okay. Listen quietly while I say this out loud.
all right.
Is it the same Bigfoot? Like the Bigfoot followed this guy across the country because he was so upset by Bigfoot he needed to get out of there and move to a different small town, this time on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
But like Michael, like the mom in Jaws 4, the monster followed.
Oh yeah, no. So it's
Oh shit!
So that's why.
Wow. I see.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That changes a lot of things.
Yeah, because in the kind of tribal area in the Northwest.
Well, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I retract
Yeah,
my confusion. That's
So anyway, that's why it's called Penn's Woods, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Kudos to you, David Wascavage.
Yes, and
certainly got
long
one
live
over on me.
Scientology.
Yeah.
During this, we're cutting back and forth to the Charisma Vacuum and Native American lady, and he's like, I got to follow you around, and
How do they even meet? I don't even remember.
His grandma's like a big god humper, and she's like, hey, go back to that parking lot where you found the arrow, and you might find a clue.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then he found the clue by finding her, and he follows her around, and it's awkward. All this stuff happened. The only thing I wrote down from this, and just because, so she says, he's like, I don't believe in Bigfoot, and this is Native American lady. She says, is a bear intelligent? Can a gorilla be a magical creature?
Yes, to both of those.
I mean, as insofar as gorillas weren't discovered by Westerners till like the 1930s, yeah. I mean, I guess it's like a sort of better. It's like a bit of like a cryptozoological thing. Can a bear be? Yeah, a bear's probably very intelligent compared to, I don't know, your common vole.
I can't ride a unicycle. Bears can.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think if I nailed your feet to a unicycle, you'd learn pretty quick.
Well, yeah, I would fall over a lot. You don't see bears falling over.
Well, yeah, but that's
they can
because
do
of
it
the severe
smartly.
whippings they took.
Right.
Yeah.
In the brain.
Yes, it's true. So I don't know what any of those things mean, but I wrote it down anyway.
Yeah.
During this time, this is where our idiot Charisma Vacuum and the Native American lady are flirting, and it's as bad as anything I've ever seen. Like, I'd rather watch a video of my parents fucking than that guy trying to flirt.
It was unpleasant.
A girl as attractive and pretty as you. It's so fucking bad. I mean, just the writing is hideous. The writing is like George Lucas bad, and then that kid's fucking performance is just dog shit. Yeah. All right. Some other crap happens. So they bait a meat trap, to try to catch Sasquatch.
Mm-hmm.
And this scene, you can clearly see Sasquatch's dick. Because I thought it was funny that it's a meat trap and then you see his dick. So pay attention at all. Their plan works, except they were sitting there waiting for the Sasquatch to show up, and she didn't have her bow and arrow out, nor was she aiming or doing anything that would
a lot of faith in the trap.
Yeah. So Bigfoot starts kicking ass. I think this is where he hurts our idiot lead character, and then she gets the crows to attack him, and it is Birdemic level bad CGI.
It's very bad. Yeah.
I think they like go to a tent and she cures him using, mystical Native American knowledge because, that's, why not treat an entire people to be a stereotype?
Yep.
She
throws some herbs at him and it's fine.
Yeah. Right there's a little asterisk saying, see Alex's thoughts on Uncut Gems. So around here is where the cops, they're like, hey, what we can do is we're going to get Zeke and the boys to take down fucking Zeke and the boys. And Zeke and the boys is exactly what you think it would be. It's rednecky guys and Bigfoot kicks the shit out of them. There's no, the only thing that really the takeaway here is the CGI net.
Yeah. So they capture Bigfoot by throwing a net at him and the net is CGI. And so while Bigfoot is laying there, the net is like undulating on him. It's really creepy.
What? But they have a net. We see it. They throw a real life net at him. Why not just leave the net?
I don't know.
Why is there a CGI net, John?
The net wasn't showing up on the camera. And so they needed I don't know. It doesn't make a lick of sense.
It's not a lick of sense. Like if you had a lick and then like a bunch of cents, they wouldn't even balance on a scale. Yeah. But that's the Lieber and me talking. Native American lady gets kidnapped. And we find her in a cave and she's talking to Timmy's mom. And Timmy's mom admits to being sexually assaulted by Sasquatch. And again, don't need that in this movie, dude.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, real sorry. That's gotta suck,
Good luck with all that.
Yeah. That weird David Lynch scene with the lady that's knitting and listening to like punk rock music as like a drunk guy is dancing.
Yes.
That was fucking incredible. Like that was like abstract art. I don't understand.
More of that, please.
It was, literally it's just David, like that could have been a cut from like season peaks. Because that's what words are.
Yeah. Season peaks.
Oh, the other great CGI bit here is Bigfoot busts through a doorway, a CGI door.
Yes.
And you can so clearly see the door that's still there.
It's
next to open.
Why?
This dude didn't want to put any kind of effort into this.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that could have happened here.
But that's a lot of effort to put no effort into it. Like, it's so strange. Why did you make a fake door out of CG that you can still see the door? I've never taken a door down, but I've seen there's screws that attach to hinges. And I know how those work. I feel like you could take a door down in like 10 minutes. I mean, five. I mean, it doesn't take that long. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a power screwdriver, it's real easy.
Yeah. So the climactic ending comes up with the Native American lady, much like in history. Turns out she's ineffectual and sucks at everything, like all women and minorities. And the white man has to take up the weapons and win. Because this is a great message. So she sucks and can't kill Bigfoot. So the white savior shows up and shoots Bigfoot through the heart. And you know what happens when you shoot magical creatures through the heart?
You finally get printed in the newspaper.
I was thinking like bolts of electricity for some reason.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And then an explosion.
The built-in lightning effect in After Effects gets utilized, and it's very bad.
I cannot believe they gave the kill shot to the white dude. That is. It's
pretty. I mean, his whole character arc, through line, whatever, is just so pointless, and not necessary.
Well, they were trying to do like him becoming a believer over the course of the movie, like where the arrow falls on one of her medicine bags. And he's like, oh, that's the medicine. But it's like at the end of the movie, is like, I still want to be a Western white reporter,
right? Because
all of the lessons I learned. But it's like, yeah, but also you're really hot, so I guess I'll go be a Bigfoot hunter with you.
Yeah, which is. That's what I'm. So after they kill Bigfoot, she is injured, and he takes her back to the tent. Not to a hospital or anything, to a tent in the woods.
Well, John, it was established earlier that Western hospitals can heal the soul and the mind.
Oh, okay.
It's in the text.
Right, sorry. My mistake.
It's intratextual evidence,
I
John.
didn't realize that her soul and mind were at hazard.
Yeah, I mean, what else would be at hazard if you were attacked by a Bigfoot? They're transdimensional, they hurt your heart and soul.
Okay.
And you need herbs that
Stop
get
yelling
pointed
at
out
me.
by magic. I'm not yelling at you. I'm disappointed. Sternly. Sternly disappointed that you didn't pay attention to this movie.
Not to that part of it. But yeah,
It was important.
Well, and then what also I like, so after she's all healed up and they leave the tent, she makes the tent disappear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was, again, completely necessary.
I would have loved if she made the tent disappear, but then it's just on her back, like she's carrying a backpack with the tent. You know, that's how intricate the spell or whatever it is. Yeah.
Well, you can still see it in a later shot, which is great.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, like when they're talking, you can still see it like poking, like when it cuts to her talk, like over the shoulder, her talking to him, you can see it just barely poking in through the.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't notice that. I mean, it's surprising because this movie is so flawless.
Yeah,
with all
it's
that
very,
stuff,
very
a
a lot of thought put into it up until this point.
I guess we should tell people if they should watch this movie. I think our opinions are pretty obvious, and I'm going to actually veto saying whether you should watch or not. I think from intratextual evidence from this episode will tell you whether or not you should watch this movie.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, it's a movie called Suburban Sasquatch. If you see it, if you see the artwork on it, you'll know exactly what this movie is. And if you're in the mood for that, if you've got some friends getting rowdy, check it out. But if you just want to be like, I would like a deep thought-provoking movie on the nature of the Sasquatch, check it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's interdimensional.
Yeah.
So John, what would you like to watch for next episode?
Well, I know we've been doing, we're doing shitty movies, but I'd like to. Is there a way that we could raise the bar while simultaneously lowering the bar?
Well, I mean, yeah, we could watch a movie's sequel that the movie was really good, that thus raising the bar.
Okay.
And then lowering the bar by having it be, I'm going to say, almost universally known as the worst sequel ever made.
Okay. Yeah. No, that sounds perfect. I'm assuming you're talking about Highlander 2, The Quickening.
Oh, I was thinking The Godfather 2, but yeah, your idea is good too. Yeah, let's do Highlander 2.
Those are different movies?
Well, there's different cuts. So in the original theatrical cut, Don Corleone is from Zeist. And then in the other one, he's actually from like Sicily or whatever. So yeah, they're kind of the same, but yeah, let's just do the one that's called Highlander 2, The Quickening.
The Quickening.
Yes.
And if you have not seen Highlander 1 and you're worried you're not going to be able to follow it, don't worry about it. It does not matter.
In fact, it may actually hurt you to know the Highlander mythos before watching Highlander 2.
So this actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this is the original Last Jedi, whereas it took everything in the movie before and went, nah, and then did its own thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the later movies just went, that's kind of, just forget about that one.
Don't worry about that.
Though I think the third one turns out that there's Highlander wizards.
There is, Mario Van Peebles is in the third one.
Yeah. So that, let's just say that there was one good Highlander movie.
There's a rich tapestry of Highlanders.
And this is not that one.
Yeah.
Starring Christopher Lambert, a begrudgingly they threw up enough money at him, Sean Connery. The great Michael Ironsides, who John and I met and are best friends with.
Mm-hmm. And Virginia Madsen, who's great.
Highlanders 2, The Quickening. We'll do that next time. Make sure to follow us on the Twitter at JawsPod. Oh, here's something to tell you guys. Twitter, if you want to follow me, I'm at Alex Bolin now. Because I used to be a different name, but I'm Alex Bolin, AlexXBollen, with the little @ sign before it. A little snail on Twitter.
So follow us on follow Alex, and then follow us on JawsPod and updates about future shows and stuff. We're thinking about maybe doing a watch party on Twitch, so that might be coming up. I should throw a link to some of my own crappy old films that I've done. on there as well. So you have some frame of reference for what I'm talking about in this episode.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. And sorry if you watched Suburban Sasquatch.
I'm not. I hope you enjoyed it.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.